Hey there, it's January 24th, 2025, and this is your EVE Online news and weather for this week. I don't know if I'm going to manage to maintain a weekly podcast or whatever you want to call this vid, but we're shooting for it for now. A couple of things before I get into the traffic. One, FanFest is coming up. For those of you who don't know, FanFest is when CCP, the owners of EVE Online, or at least wise the developers of EVE Online in Iceland, put out a big welcome mat for all the players from all over the world to come and meet, talk with the devs, talk with each other, be sociable, because this is an MMO where the players are the most important thing. We are the ones, you and I, that make the game what it is and manage to keep it going for 22 years or however long it's been going on since 2003. FanFest, I've been to a couple of them. They're a blast. The pub crawl is fun. The meeting other players is my favorite part. Just being able to meet people who say, "Oh, I know who you are." Or, who do you fly with? Or looking at little name badges where you have your name and the corporation of the group that you fly with in the game there, and you can find out you're meeting a person who's been your bane of existence or an enemy, or someone who's willing to become one of your good friends. It's a great time. Player presentations, dev presentations. When they put out the statistics, I will not be going. Wish I could, but hey, I'm on a fixed income and they didn't fix it quite right. So I'll be at home, but I'll be watching the entire thing online as much as I can. Missing all the really good stuff, but getting some of the details anyways. Looking forward to it. And that's a key thing I want to, that leads to the next thing, is devs talking to players. This happens in EVE Online more than most other games. And I think early next week, CCP Swift has said that there's going to be a little roadmap for the coming 2025 year with some of the main lead devs. So I would keep an eye open for that. If I get a link for it or when it happens, I'll try to retrofit this or mention it in my next vid. The people who have the most access to the devs, besides flying all the way to Iceland and chatting with them in person, are the CSM. Now, I'm not on the CSM this year, have been in past years, but the CSM probably in the next couple of weeks are going to be flying to Iceland and actually having the summit, which is where they talk for an entire week head to head with lead devs, team leads, one on one with various people. It's always a great time and it's amazing how much can get done. Now, I'd love to point you to last year's CSM minutes, but CCP never actually put those out. And this is a dig to CCP if you're watching this. It would be nice to be able to say they showed up and they talked to us about stuff and we talked to them about stuff. The problem is, when devs say anything, the players tend to treat it as a written in stone promise of something that's going to happen in the next 15 minutes. And then they lose their shit if that doesn't happen. There are devs who pointed this out over the various games that I followed, and it's almost become a meme of devs are almost afraid to say anything for fear of the players pouncing on it, saying, "Yay, we're getting this tomorrow." This is one of the reasons why we have the CSM, is they can easier control the message and make it a discussion as opposed to just watching players run rabbit around in circles because they've been promised something, as opposed to we're considering doing X or we're thinking of removing Y from the game. It happens. I'm looking forward to seeing if the minutes for this year come out. I would really love it if CCP put out a generalized agenda. Quite often they can't even tell us the title of the meetings or tell the general public the title of the meetings because that would give away information as well. But it's a great time. I wish I was going to the summit this year. I wish I was going to the FanFest this year. Instead, here I am chatting with you. Not necessarily a bad thing. Now, keeping it short, so on to the traffic and weather. Most violent systems in nullsec over the past week was in MNC, DY TAC P7Q. Over the last 3 hours when I loaded this on, it was FB TAC MPY in Ethereum Reach. For low sec, over the last 24 hours, Anamaki, no big surprise there. It's always a violent place. And in high sec, most violent, still, as I mentioned a couple times ago, Weetra. But there was one interesting thing I came, because I was looking through all of these, and you can go to Dotland to see this type of thing, is one of the violent systems, seventh on the list for the last 24 hours, was Otella, which is in Pochven. Now, Otella was a high-sec system, but when the Trig stole it, I don't know if you can call Pochven a high-sec system. So Dotland may want to take a look at that or just live with how it's going. It's an interesting little twist because it was high-sec, but it's gone now, and I would call it null-sec closer than anything, or wormhole space. Alliance movements, Goon Swarms added 288. Where's the other one? Diplomatic incidents lost around 300 people in the last 7 days. Sov changes, not a lot of big movement except for the fact that Sigma Grindset lost 16 and is now down to 0. They're not doing well. Shadow Ultimatum gained 16, so that was probably a one-to-one relationship there. The game is playing nicely these days. One last interesting thing, and I'll try to come back to it, is PI now can have saved setups for that part of the game. So if you do PI, you can save your own, or if you go on to Reddit, there's actually a guy who's made some classic for P0 and P1 planets and done templates, so you can just cut and paste and put them right in. It's a little more complex than that, putting it in the appropriate file spot. But it's nice to know that some of the automation, God, cannot speak. Automation, there we go, it is slowly replacing carpal tunnel syndrome. Carpal syndrome? I need more drinks and I don't even have one in front of me. But you have yourself a really good day, and I will chat with you in about a week. Ciao, Bella.